There's always been one roadblock between me and that blue ribbon in Resident Evil 3. Stage 4 Nemesis on Inferno difficulty.
I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me.
I hear that facing your fears is important for personal growth, so today I'm teaming up with my girl Jill, and Carlos, I guess, in an attempt to find a vaccine and escape Raccoon City alive.
This right here is my favorite thing, ever.
Before I get too far into this, I have a quick rant. Resident Evil 3 is a fine game, but it is a dogshit remake. It is neither faithful nor all that respectful to its source material, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And it does make me sour, especially seeing how lovingly remade 1, 2, and 4 have been. Really makes RE3 feel like the red-headed stepchild of the series. That's not the point of this video, but I do feel better with that off my chest. So, back to your regularly scheduled programming. I prefer to group achievements into one run as often as I can. For this attempt, I will be going for Dominator for finishing the game on Inferno, Jill Valentine for completing the game on Inferno with an S rank, which also allows for me to unlock Sensational Work for completing the game with an S rank, and Sprinter for finishing the game in under 2 hours, especially since the requirements for an S rank on Inferno are completing the game in under 2 hours and with less than 5 saves. Because of these restrictions, this is one of those situations where I need an exact sequence for what I was going to need to do. Since this means that between escaping Jill's apartment and popping a cap in Nikolai, I could only save 5 times, I identified 5 locations where I was most likely to die and mapped my save goals nearest to those locations. We start out the game in Jill's apartment on what seems to be a perfectly normal evening of September 28th, 1998, until she is suddenly attacked by this trash bag wearing bioweapon named Nemesis. Nemi to his friends. Nemi's entire purpose of existence is to eliminate all STARS members, a special police task force of which Jill is a former member, hence the apartment destruction. Once Jill escapes the destroyed building, we conveniently run into none other than Bradley Vickers, the helicopter pilot who abandoned STARS Alpha team in Resident Evil 1. It was at this point I encountered my first issue in the game. This fat-ass cop. He's the first zombie that I had to contend with, but he moves so stupid fast that he killed me. Twice. And each time that happened, I had to go back to the opening sequence. And to get one thing clear, this opening sequence is terribly boring from a gameplay perspective. Skip cutscene, press W. Skip cutscene, press W. Skip cutscene, press W. And there's only so many times I can watch Nemesis bust through this wall like some BDSM Kool-Aid man without damaging my mental health. Third time ended up being the charm, and for transparency's sake, I have no idea what was done differently. And I thought, wow, thank God I'll never have to do that again. And I then reached what had really scared me about this opening sequence. This elevator. Inside this elevator are 2 zombies who I need to get past in order to reach our goal, the roof. And as is tradition, I dodged the wrong direction and got killed by this zombie.
Oh well, back to the dump. To the dump, to the dump, to the dump, 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 dump.
My next attempt I miraculously got through without dying. Once we reach the roof, Nemi destroys our way out, and Jill ends up ramming him with a car. Off a building. At this point, Jill gets assistance from an unlikely source. UBCS, aka Umbrella's Armed Forces. Carlos and team immediately request Jill's help getting the subway out of town up and running. At this point, I reached my first save of the game, as well as my first item box. I grabbed my infinite rocket launcher, and a lot of these coins for damage reduction and health regeneration. You may notice that I'm grabbing a lot of these coins. This is going to come back to bite me, and soon. First, I made my way to the power station, which has been overrun by disgusting parasite bug creatures. And just to clarify, this is not my first playthrough. I was, at this point, very familiar with this game, so I have no explanation or justification for what I'm about to do. Inside this box is a lockpick that I need in order to open the power station. You may notice that my inventory is full. What I ought to have done is gone back to the item box to clear inventory space. What I did instead is discard the herb.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I needed that herb to heal Jill from the parasite infection she's about to get. Also, Capcom, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm very uncomfy. At this point, instead of being reasonable and going back to the item box for a heal, I thought maybe I could make it through this section before the parasite kills me. So it was back to the subway station, and this time I left more empty space in my inventory. After powering the subway, Jill is tasked with setting the subway route. Can you believe it? Nemesis is alive and chasing us around. Despite being chased, I made my way downtown, walking fast, to the building for the subway route. And here is technically the first puzzle of the game, and it is sure a puzzle of all time. After that uninspiring experience, I got a train to catch. I made it to the safety of the subway station, and Nemi completely broke the unwritten rule and enters the station. I thought we had an agreement, bro. You don't enter the station, and I tell you that your bag doesn't make your ass look fat. She draws his attention away from the subway's occupant, escaping through a vent and into the requisite Resident Evil sewer level. Nothing too interesting happens down here, except some fun with door locks, and at the end, Nemi kindly helps us up this ladder. Somewhere, he grabbed a friggin' flamethrower and sets the building Jill escapes into ablaze. After climbing to the top of the building, it was time for our first real boss fight. The only trick to this fight is to blow up the Ghostbusters canister on his back. I didn't have any real issues with this fight because, you know.
Tactical nuke incoming!
After killing Nemesis for sure this time, I escaped to the bright lights of Kendo's shop and my second save. Not a moment too early because it's raining zombies now. Once saving, it is time to try and catch the train a second time. Jill circles around towards the subway station, and what the heck, bro? Nemesis has a rocket launcher now?
Nothing dies down here.
Where is he getting all these weapons? I will be the first to admit that this was not my best work, and, thankfully I had just saved, so it was only back to Kendo's shop. The second time I got back to the donut shop, and this is one of the areas where I thought I was most likely to die when I was planning my route. It's a real burden to be correct all the time. Third attempt was the charm, once again, and Jill finally caught her train, which was promptly blown up and derailed. But we'll worry about that in a minute, because it's Carlos time, baby. So instead of Jill and Nemesis in front of the RPD, we get Carlos and Bradley Vickers? I mean, I never liked Brad anyway, so... Carlos did not catch the train, staying behind to look for this prick of a doctor named Nathaniel Bard. He's the dude in charge of the zombie virus vaccine. He is also supposedly holed up in the STARS office. Once inside the RPD, Carlos realizes he's going to need to blow up a wall in order to access the STARS office. And also for continuity with RE2. Yes, this part of RE3 happens chronologically before RE2, and no, I won't be taking any questions at this time. Carlos blows up the wall, enters the STARS office, realizes the doctor isn't there, and exits the STARS office. That is the entirety of the RPD. We are back in control of Jill, who has miraculously survived an explosion and train derailing. I took this opportunity to make my third save because we have a boss fight coming up. After climbing to the surface, Jill provides my favorite line delivery of the game.
Bitch can't even swim.
Turns out, he doesn't need to swim. I'm not sure what the official name of this Nemesis form is, but I call him Pupper Nemi. He's a very good boy. This fight is pretty simple, and thankfully gave me minimal issues. Except right here, I've never had Nemesis land on me here. I probably couldn't recreate it if I tried. As a last-ditch effort, Nemesis infects Jill with the T-virus, and she falls unconscious. For some reason, Nikolai appears from absolutely out of nowhere and says some ominous nonsense. Hours later, Carlos also appears from out of nowhere and carries Jill to the hospital, hoping to find a vaccine for her, while also still looking for Dr. Bard. And, since Jill is indisposed again, it is once again Carlos time. He begins the hunt for the vaccine, and immediately we have my favorite Carlos moment. Hands down.
Dr. Bard, are you in there? I'm here to rescue you. Open the door.
No voice match found.
Voice match? What kind of sci-fi bullshit is this? Open sesame.
No voice match found.
This is Nathaniel Bard. Open the door, please.
No voice match found.
Let me in, you piece of shit.
No voice match found.
Carlos versus door is unmatched. Since the lock is voice activated, we need to find a recording of Dr. Bard. Unhappily, there is a recording made of him, which was held for review on a harassment suit. This tape is currently in this terrifying room with two hunters, either one of which could send my butt back to fight Pupper Nemi. So I punched one in the face. After using the tape to open the door, turns out Dr. Bard has been murdered. And it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. There is exactly one vaccine in existence, but Jill is best girl, so it belongs to her. While waiting for the vaccine to take effect, Carlos barricades and defends the room where she's hiding in this strangely arcadey RE4 cabin light sequence that honestly I could have done without. And so the sun sets on the last Carlos segment of the game. Jill wakes up in the hospital to the devastating news that the government has made the decision to blow up Raccoon City in an effort to eliminate the T-virus in one fell swoop, unless a vaccine can be produced before the end of the day. Carlos is missing, having gone underground to the Umbrella Research Lab looking for more vaccines. Because of course Umbrella has built a humongous covert laboratory beneath the hospital. Why wouldn't they? Jill follows him to the lab with the intention of finding the components of the vaccine to make it herself if all else fails. Miraculously, she finds exactly the components she needs and enough to make exactly one vaccine. After collecting the components, we have the second official puzzle of the game.
What are you, stupid?
Admittedly, it took me a minute, but we have the precious vaccine to save the city. It was time for my 4th save of the game because another Nemesis boss fight is coming up, and my last save was quite a long time ago. I think Nemesis must love fire. Everywhere he frickin' shows up, he either sets it on fire or he explodes some shit. This fight's not very frightening. The main issue stems from the fact that he summons zombie ads during the fight. It's definitely the most annoying part. These last 2 Nemesis fights are quite close together for some reason, and nothing really interesting happens in between them. I do take my 5th and final save immediately before the next Nemesis fight, because it's the big one. Nikolai leaves her for dead when Liquid Nemesis rolls onto the scene, escaping to the helipad above. This fight utilizes a humongous railgun that is stored in the arena, and after the first shot, it requires the power cells to be pushed back in before another shot can be made. Sounds super easy, and I came in with a ton of confidence. Completely misplaced confidence. This dude beat my ass like a bongo. My second try did not go much better.
I am once again
getting my ass beat.
I did get the kill in the second attempt, but genuinely only because of the coins in my pocket. After that harrowing experience, I had this long-ass elevator ride to stress out about making sure I shoot Nikolai and not Carlos. If I don't hit this shot, it would be back to fighting Nemesis again. Thanks, sweet baby Jesus, I hit the shot, but Nikolai destroyed the vaccine, because he's a total dingus. Since they weren't able to produce a vaccine, the government does follow through on their threat and destroys Raccoon City. And that's the game done. The achievement's earned. But this victory felt hollow. Anyone with functioning eyeballs would be able to tell that I had not performed my best at one particular moment of this playthrough. And pride is a bitch, guys. It really is. It's a sin for a reason, you know? So I decided to go back into the save file and fight Stage 4 Nemesis Inferno difficulty without any of the coins. For just about 30 minutes of my life, I did nothing but walk down this hallway and die. Until finally, the perfect fight. And when I tell you, my heart was pounding, running back towards this railgun. I had so much adrenaline, I never needed to sleep again. I still haven't. But he finally took the hint. Good riddance. And now I can rest easy with my blue ribbon. So that's the achievements done. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you so much for hanging out. Until next time, drink your water, be nice to each other. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.